Hi, this project is for my Southwest dangly earrings here. I make them with real turquoise. The full materials list is in the link below, so you can click on that and it'll give you everything you need, plus written instructions and still photos of all the steps. I'm going to get started right away. This is a really easy project, great for beginners. It'll be very fast. If you wanted to make it as a gift, you'd have it ready in 10 minutes. So I'm going to start by taking an eye pin and stringing on first my turquoise bead, and I've got a pretty Bali bead here and a small, there we go, silver bead to top it off. And my focus doesn't want to focus, that's okay, you get the point. Then I will string my other beads onto, since I'm using a feather, I bought paddle beads that have a little pointed end. These are available online. And let's see, we've got a turquoise. And so I picked the pattern earlier and I'm just following the pattern that I've got on the first earring I made, and an 8mm bead. And I'm going to set that aside. What I'm working on here is a bead mat. It's really just a piece of fleece and makes it very easy to keep my beads from rolling away while I'm working. And the last dangle is a red stone and then another Bali bead of a different design. Now I've got all my little pieces together, as you can see. One dangle, two dangles, and the feather, which will come later. First thing I'm going to do, now keep the eye pin part of this on the bottom. I'm going to make a wrapped loop on the top, and if you haven't made a wrapped loop before, I'm going to bend my wire about 3mm from the top of that silver bead at a 90-degree angle. Take my round nose pliers bend the wire over. So I've got most of a loop. Put the pliers back in and bring the loop on the other side. So just like that. Then I can remove my pliers. Hold the loop with my flat nose pliers and pull it around. This is much easier when there's no video in the way. All right, so you see how that wraps around? There's a little tail left over. Normally, I do this a little bit tighter by using 2 pliers. There we go. Straighten everything out. And trim. Where's my scissor? Cutters. Trim the excess. Now this is optional if you have, these are crimping pliers, and I find crimping pliers to be very helpful for closing that little end by squeezing them around. There we go. Okay, I'm going to set this first dangle down for a minute. Here, put it down next to the original one. And take my ear wire. This is a stainless steel ear wire. it's looped around so that the opening is in the back, and I'm just going to twist. There we go. Twist so that it's open. Put the top loop of my dangle on and twist this back closed again. Giving it a little squeeze just to make sure there's no gap right there. This is where when your earring falls off of your ear wire, it's usually because right at that joint somebody didn't tighten it up enough. Okay. There we go. Now we have, honestly, you could wear this just like this. That is pretty much the most basic earring you've got. All right, let's set that back down. Move some of these jump rings out of the way. And while that's sitting there, these little dangles, I had bought 1-inch paddle pins. So they have a very short amount of wire left over once I put a couple of beads on. So I'm going to make a simple loop instead of a wrapped loop. And a simple loop is just goes over with your round nose pliers and comes back without crossing anywhere. So I will once again bend. There we go, to get it started. And that bend helps keep the loop centered. There we go. And I'm going to turn with my pliers, turn, 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 until I have a loop. You'll see a lot of pieces of jewelry with this kind of loop. And again, make sure this gap right here is closed all the way. There we go. I gave it a little squeeze just to make sure it's completely tightened there. I'm going to set down that dangle, do the next one. I like to prepare the dangles first. But you can do this in a different order if it's easier for you. Okay, bending. This one you can see has a really small amount of wire left over, so this is going to be the hardest one. And that's a little too tight. There we go. Get my pliers in there. Turn, turn, turn. Note that I adjust my pliers. I take them out and adjust my pliers instead of trying to turn my wrist. Okay, there we go. And I'm looking to make sure it's tight. It's not quite tight enough. I'll give it a little squeeze again. Okay. All right, now I have 2 dangles and the base of my earring. So the next thing I'm going to do is put my feather charm on. I'm going to take 1 jump ring, and again, I don't pull this apart. I use 2 pairs of pliers. I prefer the flat nose, but you can use chain nose or whatever you have, and hold them both at the same time on either side of the opening and just slide past one another. I know that the charm has a fairly thick wire around it, so I need a decent sized gap. I'm going to thread on my feather, and then this feather gets attached right to the eye of that eye pin. I'm going to grab my 2 pliers again and twist them closed until there's no gap. And again, you could wear this just like that. It's a really pretty earring. But we're going to add 2 more dangles As you can see, they are attached in a chain. Next to the feather. I do have a version where all I do is attach the dangles to the feather. That's kind of clumpier, and I like this version better. So twist this open. This is the first dangle that I have there. And let's check. I'm gonna close it. So now I have my dangles now. There we go. Twist a second jump ring. This one gets attached to the dangle, and then that dangle goes onto one side of the feather at that jump ring. There we go. There, I think that's pretty clear. Close that up again. Okay. There we go. This third little dangle is going to hang just a little bit lower. So it also begins by getting a jump ring. Here we go. Open, attach, close. Another jump ring. This is the jump ring that attaches it to the chain that's already there. There we go. Dangle number 2 on its open jump ring. And this jump ring, as you can see, right here attaches to the inside of the previous dangle. Essentially, these jump rings are making a chain by hand. You're making a chain of jump rings by hand. But by doing it one piece at a time, you're able to put everything into position rather than just attaching things to a chain. And there you go. That's it. That took minutes. And now I have 2. There we go. I'll get some of this out of the way. And done. I hope you enjoyed that. Go look at the bottom for the link if you want instructions and materials on exactly how to make these. And remember, you can use any kinds of beads that you want.